So, Donbrothers.
Donbrothers.
Don
Don
Brothers.
brother,
Don
da,
Brothers.
da, 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 da,
It's
da.
Don Brother
Yeah.
Kai, you fake fan.
I
Yeah.
don't know lyrics. I'm just singing the song. I'm having a good time. I came here not to be bullied, and here I am being bullied, guys.
Wait,
What the heck?
that's exactly what Thomas told me before we started. I was just repeating what. Okay, never mind.
Bullying!
Never mind. Never
I never
mind.
said that.
You
I
were
never said that.
you were bullying me before this. You were.
I have never bullied anyone in my life.
I think this got too far. Anyway, happy Pokemon Day, everybody, and more importantly, welcome to the Don Brothers discussion. Here we have Aki.
No.
All right,
Bye,
then.
Aki.
Keza Henshin,
Hi, I'm Keza Henshin. Or Keza.
Marcosatsu, Thomas
Hey,
Jujubee.
Marcosatsu. Oh, hello. Hi. It's me. What's up? Don Murinasame.
So, as always, this will be incredibly spoiler filled. So, if you haven't watched Don Brothers, please do. It is such a good show, and we'll start off by that. Actually, oh my gosh, isn't it crazy how good Don Brothers was? And I'm not even that into Sentai as I used to be, but like after watching the whole show, I thought it was really good, guys. Like I was literally watching the last two episodes before this. It's weird. It's weirdly enough. But Keza, Aki, and Thomas, or at least Aki and Thomas, got my full reaction to that ending, and I just
I heard some of it.
some of it, and it was just so good. I loved it. I love Don Brothers. I still think Cure Major is still topping my number one for me, but Don Brothers is a
Yo.
masterpiece of a show. So Aki, general thoughts on Don Brothers?
It was good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Keza.
No, no, no,
All the
no,
wrong
no.
people in this. General thoughts. I thought it was a freaking amazing show. It was crazy at some points. The writing was sometimes weird. There were moments where I hated the show. There were moments I loved the show. And also, I think this is probably one of the better BLs I've ever seen.
Scratch that off our bingo card.
There's a wait.
I forgot to
there's
make a bingo for
card.
this. No, I forgot to make
You
a
were
bingo
going
for
to
this.
make one? Whoa.
That was
Yes, that's the bit. Ever since I first got on like a discussion, I've made bingo cards for it with like Yosh and Vil and stuff. I
So
forgot to
where's
make
our
one for
bingo
this.
card?
Oh,
I-
I forgot. Oh,
I'm angry
Unbelievable.
and disappointed.
Well, my mental
Actually,
bing
specifically.
my bingo card says Keza brings up BL, so that's one off me.
Because it also brings up chickens. There's another one.
Oh, there you go.
Thomas.
Don Brothers. I don't know what can you say about Don Brothers at this point, right? Because like, it did so much. Like I thought all of it, or not all of it, but I thought most of it was pretty successful. I think one thing I find interesting is like throughout the show, you're kind of like questioning a lot, like what's happening, or like are we even gonna get a satisfying ending? Because there's so much happening. And then by the end of things, I thought we actually kind of stuck the landing. We got a pretty satisfying ending. We got a lot of things wrapped up. A lot of characters ended in interesting places. Some better than others, but I thought it was pretty cool. So overall, I really enjoyed the show.
Good. Great. I am glad we all agree.
Unless, actually, I take it back. I hate the show.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Can I-
Yes, Keza.
It's more just a comment on this. Since I got into Toku, like when I was in like year 7 or 8, so I started when I was quite young. I lost touch of Toku when I went to uni, and I came back to it after uni, after the COVID lockdown. It was like mid-COVID lockdown. I went back into it, and this is the first show I've seen start to end live. No, I had like a mini drop in the middle, but so much was happening around that time, so I caught up eventually. And this was the first show I've seen fully live from start to finish, and what a brilliant show! Like honestly, as you said, ending was perfect. There was a couple of things that could have been like tied up a bit more neatly, or it opens up to like future movies and extra episodes and such. But I thought it was brilliant. Like, it was just crazy and so imaginative. That's all I wanted to say.
It is a magical time for, or an experience, I should say, for someone to get back into Toku or start it for the first time and watch it week to week. That's such a good experience. Like, I think everybody should go through once. I did that with Build and it was so good. So like, with Donbrothers, I think I binged most of it when I was trying to watch it, but then I just fell off for the most part.
There was like bits in the middle where it did drop off for me, so I understand. I think everyone had that little bit in the middle where it got a bit too much.
Yeah.
And then people came back into it as it started progressing back up again. And it's like it had that dip. I keep on hearing people and like stopped halfway through and then came back into it at the end.
Oh yeah.
So that might just be a general thing that was happening with the line of where the plot was going, maybe.
I think that's
what was
also
the dip point for you, in your opinion? You don't know? Unbelievable.
No. I think the dip point was the confusion and anger I felt with the whole Miho and Natsumi situation. Also, no, it was.
Natsumiho?
I know where it was. It was when Sonoi died
Whoa.
in apostrophes halfway through the show, and I was like, "That's it. There's no point." No. Sorry, Sonoi died, and then they did the episode where he came back, and then Taro died. That was where I was just like, "Oh, I can see what they're doing, but they did it so badly."
Really? I like how they did it.
It was fine, but I think it's because I'm so connected to those characters. Like, I wanted them to. Throughout this whole show, guys, in chat, I've been wanting to see them kiss this whole time. Like,
yeah.
that's all it is. Like, I wanted to see them together the whole way through. Like, as I said from the beginning, I thought it was a beautiful BL. So, yeah, anyway.
You did kiss. What are you talking about?
To stop.
It's in the director's cut.
Please.
It's in the director's
If it is, I'm going to cry. No, it was okay. I can see people in chat getting angry with me. It was great, but I think it's because I was just so connected with those two being together. I think I just had like a mini like. I feel like I was queer baited way too much, and I was just like, I can't deal with this anymore, and I left for a bit, and then I came back. So, I'm glad to be back, and I cried the whole last episode. Watched it twice already, so I'm still very much in it. Anyway, sorry, I'll stop talking now.
What? No, don't stop. It lets me not talk about how I haven't watched it.
Oh!
Okay, alright, let's talk about that. Wait.
Why haven't you watched all?
Yeah, yesterday,
Marcos.
Marco.
I don't know what.
Yeah, yesterday we were talking, and Marcos like, "Oh yeah, I haven't watched."
Oh my
Since
gosh,
episode
guys,
20.
I'm memeing. I watched Don Brothers.
No.
So like
That's fine.
in like the first few, I think I watched just the premiere, but then after a while I just didn't keep up with it. I don't normally keep up with Toku, so I would just put on some episodes like during work while I was at work, and I was like, wow, this is actually really, really good. So I actually watched it out of work, and I realized, oh wow, this Sentai is really grabbing me. I love the characters mostly and what they're doing and their wackiness, and I love how different it was in the beginning, where the team wasn't really together. They didn't really know each other's were Don Brothers until like way later, and I think that's just a really cool, a really new thing for Sentai to do. Oh, a new-ish thing. It's been done a couple times before, but still, it's really, really good, and I love the newness. I love the fresh takes on these characters. I love the CGI-ish stuff, but I love that they're trying.
I actually wanted to bring up the CGI so bad because most of the time it was beautiful. Like the final fight scenes. No, I'm not even talking about Kiji brother and Inu brother yet. But like the actual fight effects, like when they go into that dark room and then they're in that background with the traditional Japanese art in the back.
Oh yeah.
And they do those final moves as they bring up the I don't know what it was, the thing with the wheels. They brought him up and then he did his final move. Those were brilliant. Like the lighting effect on that with Jiro's attack as well, beautiful. But I don't understand. I think it's because all of the budget for the CGI went into that, but they didn't put any money into Kiji brother and Ino brother. Like, it was like that last moment where Don brother comes back in. Sorry,
The
not
Don
Don
brother?
Morito. Not the
Don
Don
brother?
brother.
The
Momotaro
Don
comes
brother.
back and says, "Announce yourself, companions." And you could see that Kiji brother is trying to push up from the floor, but his arm just kind of floats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As he
yeah,
stands
just
up.
floats up.
And
I
I
find-
thought for the longest time it was because they were in like a game or a simulation. So those two just always looked bad. It was like what my main theory was that we were in a simulation or something. Because the wishes and the digital world, I was like, simulation, simulation. And everyone laughed at me. But I mean,
No,
but
same.
yeah.
But they were in a simulation, but...
I think the craziest thing is
Yeah.
that even when the rumors were first starting out, like we knew this was going to be a different show because the rumors even said there'd be 2 CGI Rangers, and pretty much everyone was like, CGI Rangers? There's no way that's going to happen. Like, think of how bad it'll look,
Yeah.
and yeah, it still turned out pretty bad. But the implementation and idea of it is so good. If only because we did get like brand new. I guess like figures of how these rangers can look, and even Saru brother has like a whole different kind of style to him, and it's just different. I guess that's my main thing is I love how different Don Brothers is.
I love how they look, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
When they're like the poster I'm looking at for the thumbnail for this stream, they look interesting. Like, I think Sentai was getting so boring at one point, hence why I stopped. And it was getting so like samey and so safe, and I was just like, I want something different. And that's what we got. We got something completely different, which looks different, sounds different, and it was just fun. It was a whole lot of fun, and I think that's the great thing about the show is that they didn't take themselves too seriously.
Only the moon knows.
Only the moon
Huh?
knows.
Only
I
the
also
moon
really
knows.
liked that it had like practical elements too.
Yeah.
Like when they shoot Kiji brother from like the waist up, and he's like a real man.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
Inu
music.
dog is the funniest thing.
Oh yeah, and them using an actual puppet for Inu brother was, I think, like my favorite thing about how they were handled.
Yeah.
I really love that a lot about Inu brother.
They also had a really interesting filming technique. So you know when Don Momotaro was ill and he had to eat all those mochi things, and they had
Yeah.
that film, the video camera of Haruka looking up, being like, "No!" And the camera
Yeah.
went all the way up, like very anime, with their like editing. But then at the same time, some of the camera shots were done on such bad cameras. Like, I just didn't understand why it was done on
Oh,
such
yeah,
bad cameras.
The
gave
fisheye
him-
camera.
that kind of camera angle a lot throughout the show, and then,
Yeah.
every time it's like low res quality. I assume
Yeah.
it's just like
Why was it so
the
low?
only
low
resolution
res?
they have of that camera, because they kind of been using that for a while in like some of the previous shows.
Too, pretty sure.
Yeah. I think like Loop and Ranger and Key Rangers when they really started using it.
Yeah,
And it was
yeah.
the same
Yeah,
quality.
Look into they used in Loop.
It was like a couple times in Key Ranger, and then Loop had they used it every single episode. But we
Yeah.
don't have to talk about Loop.
Oh, thank
Well, the
goodness.
thing is, it looked so beautiful. Like, there
I
were
got
some
you.
shots that were like just beautiful,
Yes.
and it was such high quality. And then they just cut to these really awful low quality camera shots, and I was
I
just like,
think-
"Oh, I'm taking out of the whole thing."
Yeah.
Okay, never
I
mind.
think it was like more so a sacrifice in the name of how should I say it? In the name of creativity with fight choreography, because I do think the way angles were used during those shots were good. Well, it was more so the lens the camera has that kind of fucked it up, because it was like a fisheye camera, which just kind of made it
Yeah.
weird. But I still liked them a lot. I think the action in Donbrothers really had like a really diverse feel to it. It was pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I do want to say, guys in chat, don't think that I hate this show or that I'm being too critical on it. I love this show, and there were moments that I was just like, "Oh, I hate this," but then I always came back and I was always in love with it, no matter what. There was always like a moment of, though there are moments in this show that I'm dislike, I still love what they do and why they've done it in that way. If that makes sense.
Yes.
It wasn't it wasn't taking me out of the show altogether. It was just like, oh, that's a shame that they did that, but everything else is really, really fun and good. So,
Ezra, can I ask you a question?
yeah.
Why do you hate Donbrothers?
I don't hate Donbrothers. You're not listening to me.
I
did I
think
just say?
I think we can all agree because like even though there are some things that definitely could have improved upon, been better. Yeah, it's Donbrothers itself is still a really really good show. Like even outside of just its suits and its fight scenes and how pretty it is, the characters carry everything so well. And yeah, the backgrounds are gorgeous. I love the Japanese art style and some of the watercolor paintings and stuff like that. It's so beautiful. And I love the video gamey aesthetics where there's like nylon or neon lights, and it's so good. I love that. It's great.
Talking about
Yes.
Thomas did not agree with that.
By Thomas.
Going. See, so you mentioned the characters. I want to talk about the characters for a bit, if that's all right.
Yes.
I want to talk about the villains specifically. Or are we going through like a specific list of what we need to talk about in what order, or are we just going?
We just go for the most part.
Donbrothers going?
Cool. No.
Not
yet. But I wanted to talk about the villains.
Yes.
Because I think the villains were so freaking interesting in the show. They...
Yes.
Where did she go?
The villains got her. Because of the judo now.
What the fuck? Stop, please.
Unless.
But I meant like with the Noto or the Serbrans, depending on what you call them. They were so interesting because they were all about how sophisticated they were as a society and a community, that they didn't want to be involved in human affairs, and they were like always like, desires are something that need to be extinguished. But then Sonoi wanted to paint more than anything and appreciate life. Sononi wanted to fall in love, or wanted to know what love was, and Sonoza wanted to wanted to learn how to laugh and how to smile and how to cry. I thought it was just so beautiful that the way that they did those characters. And also through their search for the answers to those questions, they in turn became the villains of the Noto or the Serbrans by doing those acts, by falling in love with the humans, by being involved with the humans, if that makes sense. Which I just thought was a really interesting turn in the show.
Yes, absolutely.
The Noto are my favorite part of the show. Like all
Same.
3/6 of them. I don't count the last two.
9.
How dare you?
Sorry, 8.
How dare you?
I want them to die.
But Kusaka, because they have Kusaka there.
Well,
go ahead, Murakami, shut up.
I guess he can. No, he needs to die.
How dare you?
Because like I love how they're like technically the main like antagonists of the show. Like they're our Yodon Empire or Toju Tendo or whatever. They're the main villain faction, but they're not a villain faction. They are just another team of rangers, and they're doing the exact same thing the Donbrothers were doing, fighting monsters, which I find super interesting. They just have like that twist where they kill people. So it's like, oh, well they're bad, but like you're still doing the same thing as the Donbrothers, so they're not like 100% bad. Like it's easy to be like, oh, they're bad. They're the bad guys we have to fight. But at the same time you kind of get the logic there. You're like, well, they're still fighting the monsters and like they're protecting the world in a way. It's just they don't value human life the same. And then like because of that, then like the redemption then like at the end of the show where they finally join the Donbrothers, like it doesn't feel like a redemption arc. Like it just feels supernatural. Like in my opinion, like also that's due to like
definitely
the whole show that happens because they team up. Like I think like episode 14, Sonoi already he helped them save Taro.
Mm-hmm.
Partly that's because he's homosexual, but you know they're already like teaming up like pretty early on and throughout. So when we get to the end and they're finally like, okay, now we'll just make you Donbrothers, then it just makes so much sense. And I really like that. Like I love that that villain dynamic throughout like the entire season. I think it's super good. It's so interesting. Oh my god,
Yeah,
did you die?
I think that's definitely one of the strengths Inoue has for himself, because he kind of also did that with Faiz in a way, because in Faiz the Orphanok are like the enemy faction, quote unquote faction. But the thing it does is he actually gets you familiar with them, so that you actually understand their viewpoint and also their struggles. So that way, it actually leads to a really interesting conflict between the characters, since you have actual exposure on both sides, which is, I think, one of the strengths of Donbrothers in general. Because you have the trio where, oh yeah, Sonoi's whole thing is that he thinks he's perfect, but because of, and he wants to understand what is wrong with him, and these quote unquote wrongs are emotions caused by Taro. And you have Sononi when she wants to understand love, and her whole thing is her whole thing being most understanding emotions like love, and mostly getting caught up in it during the process of it. I think all of these are just really good natural progressions of what a human, or most of what a character should go through in a setting like this. And I think that's like where Dawn Brothers shines. It's not more so that not really anyone has what you would call a redemption, like Thomas said, or it's more so a natural progression the characters go through. I think it's like handled amazingly in that regard.
Yes.
Yeah. Also,
And also-
with how... Oh, sorry. There you go.
I was
You go.
gonna say, one other thing too you reminded me that I really liked is that because they have them set up as villains, or the Noto are like the antagonists, like they don't like they're still focused on like they're villains. Like the Dawn Brothers still get the main focus or the limelight all the time because they're the title of the show, and the Noto are like definitely the secondary characters to them. But it allows them to complement each other like a lot easier because they're never like conflicting like Noto focus or Dawn Brothers focus. Like they'll do it together or they'll focus on one and it complements the other because like they set up I think the focus between them really well, and that also really helps to the progression because it's not like they're fighting for the spotlight, which may happen in other seasons where two Sentai teams are fighting each other, which I will not name
How dare you.
specifically. But you agree with me. Anyways.
One thing I was going to add to it is also like that progression is really shown in the last episode where they're all eating at the little sushi bar, and then Sonoi is called into action, and he lets the others say goodbye to Momoi Taro in such a genuinely emotional way, because he goes to fight, allowing the others to almost have their moment with their leader as he goes off. And Sonoi literally says, "We have to stand here to make sure that they get to say goodbye." And I just thought that was such a good progression from we need to kill you because you are the bad guys, to really understanding them on such an emotional level, letting the people who they've grown to respect have that last moment, because sometimes people don't allow that moment for people who are in pain or people who are mourning, and they're kind of mourning their friendship because he's now forgotten them. And in such a raw way to remember and allow them to have that moment made me cry so big, because I was just like, he's so upset because he has also been forgotten by Taro, but he is allowing them to have that moment, and it was just so powerful to me. So
It's true. I didn't think of that. That's pretty cool.
yeah,
It was very good, yeah.
I think it's because Taro later was just like, "Who are you?" and Sonoi was just like, "You forgot me," and then he has to go fight. I was just like, "That's so brave. That's like such a BL trait," but I'm just like, "Oh, you're trying to protect them."
Oh my god.
But also, sorry, I'm taking over the conversation right now. Another thing I wanted to say was how the humans are the monsters. That's such an interesting element of the villains. Like, continuing on with the villain thing. In most Power Ranger shows, the monsters are just the monsters. But in a lot of Sentai shows, the humans turn into the monsters because of excess greed, or because they've been poisoned or whatever to make them into something different. I just thought it was interesting that the villains who come into this world to kill the humans are actually not that bad. And it's the humans that become the destructive monsters, if that makes sense.
I get it. Actually, I was gonna say, usually, I think, at least in recent Sentai, the monsters are usually just monsters, aren't they?
Oh, really? Wait, I thought
think-
there was... I
at
haven't
least-
watched the recent ones, but there are some seasons that allow the humans to
Okay.
be the villains. Where it's
think,
a source of it.
Like, just Ryu Soldiers, like, the only one that kind of has the humans be there, but they're like the batteries. They're creating the It's kind of like the Donbrothers, but if the monster was a separate entity, I guess.
Yeah,
But-
that's separate entity that's draining the life force of the person.
Yeah. So.
But anyway, sorry. But what my point was more saying was that I thought it was interesting that the villains who came into the world aren't actually the villains, because it's the humans that we have to be careful of. Because Kiji brother kept on turning into a flipping monster, and I was just like, dude, this is like the fourth time. Get your act together, please.
Can we blame him? Can we really blame him for the second time though? Because that was Sonoi's fault, I feel.
I mean, Taro also caused a lot of people to turn into monsters. Also,
Oh
so-
yeah, that's one thing
Likewise.
I noticed early on, that like I wonder if that was intentional or not, because Taro and the Noto are from the same dimension, right? So
yes.
they show us, they kind of don't bring it back later, but they show us that like the Noto can kind of see what people are gonna be Hitosuki or not, or like if their desire will act out or something.
Yeah.
And then in some cases with Sonoi, they just straight out create Hitosuki. And then in Taro's case, like he kind of was doing the same thing. He was making Hitosuki, but it was like an accidental thing. So I wonder if that was supposed to be like some kind of like intentional like correlation between the two groups. Like the Noto create the monsters sometimes because they're like exterminators. They're just, well, this is going to be a problem, so let's just make it a problem now and get rid of it. And Taro's kind of the same thing, I guess. Like, oh, this could be a problem, so accidentally I'm going to make this guy really pissed off, and he's going to turn into 4 different monsters over the course of the show. I thought that was kind of
That's
fun.
a good point, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, then it kind of goes away as the Hitosuki just become people that explode, spontaneously combust with anger, and now there's a monster running around.
Wow, just
That
like me.
ninja guy, that
Just like
ninja
you,
guy who
Marcus.
becomes the villains multiple times, and in the second to last episode, he becomes the king monster, and it's that thing where they go round and round, go over each other, and blowing the
I thought
darts
that was
into.
cute.
It was so funny. I thought that was such a Sentai moment, and I did giggle at that. I was just like, ah, the villains are making villains, but it's kind of funny.
And then they get their asses beat because they're like, oh no.
Yeah, they were like, we need
yikes.
help.
Okay. I love those guys.
Are you sad?
Should I don't
Do
know.
we have
what
a
to say.
moment of?
Should we talk about should I talk about the Noto overseers now, or should I wait?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
Go,
It's
go.
your
Okay.
moment.
I just want to say I love those guys because they're so funny. Like they're the same thing as the Noto, where it's like I like that interesting morality to it, where it's like they're kind of good guys because they're just fighting monsters, but they kill people, so
To
it's
be
like they're not
fair,
really bad. Kind or no, they are bad, but not really. I don't know. But then, like, they're added in as like this endgame element because the other Noto are now good guys, and it like kind of showed like you kind of forget how different they were in the beginning, because I guess by that point we're so used to them now just being friends with the Donbrothers, so they kind of show up and it's like, oh wow, they really, our original Noto like really were assholes like in the beginning. So they're like they're like character foils to the character foils that were the Noto. So that, like, I think that's really interesting, but I just think they're so much fun. Like I love how they're like in that, like they're only in a few episodes and they already give them like so much personality, or they're like, oh yeah, Sonogo's, I don't know what she's doing, you know, personally I stay away from her if we weren't working together, and they say that about each other just straight up, and it's like, wow, they don't really like each other, and I think that's funny, and like they all like the actors do a great job of like giving them all this fun personality, even if they're only on screen for like a few seconds in an episode. I think that's really fun. I really like. I just really like goofy. At least in Sentai, I find myself liking like the goofier villains that still like can be a threat sometimes. So these guys kind of just hit that mark exactly because they were cool, like ranger designs. They had a whole roll call, and then they're also they do the Noto thing that I just said that I found interesting, and then they're also just a bunch of goofballs. They're like, oh, we need to make a monster, or I think the line they said is like, oh, we have to defeat the Donbrothers and show all our strength, but I don't feel like actually using all my strength, so we're gonna create a monster, and then the monster beats them up, and they're like, "Oh wait, we actually, Donbrothers, hey everyone, hey, can you can you help us?" Like the part where they're sucking up to the Donbrothers, so
So
they
funny.
can defeat the monster, like all 12 of them. Yeah, it's so funny to me. I love that scene and like that whole fight sequence. Oh my, like, okay, is it just me or are they considered like pseudo Donbrothers now because they fought with them against the King Ogers? So there's actually
They're
13
the
Donbrothers in my
reserve
opinion.
team.
Yes, let's go with that. They're the C
Yeah.
team.
The A and the B and the C team.
And then yeah, as you mentioned, Keza, then that made me really sad in the finale where all of them get
Yeah.
brutally executed. I was not well. Okay, I kind of thought they would die, like at least early on, especially too since it seemed like Kaiza and Yellow Racer were going to be using the Sonogo and Sonoroku braces. So I actually was thinking they were going to die, but like the fact they actually made them die and it was so brutal for all three of them, I was just so sad because I like those were my favorite characters and they came in at the last moment. I was like, oh, my favorite characters are barely in the show, but it's fine. I really like them, and then they don't even get a somewhat happy ending like everyone else. They just get brutally executed, all three of them. Makes me sad. So, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I can really respect Donbrothers for actually kind of going through with something as intense as that. Like it was, like I think Sonoroku just gets like eviscerated. So, yeah. That's
I think that was a strength of Donbrothers. They were able to bring these other characters in, give them enough personality to make them interesting. Like, is it Sonoshi, the one who's like
Sonoshi's the red, yeah.
non-gendered? The red one,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
And they're
loved Sonoshi. Like, I
Yes.
thought they were fabulous. I thought that they were funny, and I just loved that Sonoi seemed genuinely scared when he first appeared. Like, he
Oh yeah.
had that moment of like, oh, these people are bad people. And also it was like they'd been caught like cheating on an exam or something.
Oh yeah,
um,
that was funny.
But in general, I think just I had a point. What was the point? I'm gonna remember it. Oh no, I'll ask another question. Did you guys actually know who the main villains were going to be in the end? Because
Oh no.
I thought it kept us guessing through the whole season. Like,
Yeah. Go ahead.
no.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just wanted to ask that question because I think I had a feeling it was going to be maybe Kiji brother. I thought they were going to be
Oh,
doing
really?
something weird like that because of the whole Miho Natsumi thing.
Yeah.
But then they brought in the ninja who became a cowboy, who became blah blah blah, and who became the king. And I was just like, oh yeah, this must be the final villain. And then they brought the two Noto in, and I was just like,
Marcosatsu.
ah. Also, the ending fight, fuck me, that was so good.
Jeez.
Sorry,
It,
it was such a good ending. Anyways, sorry. Yeah, did you know who the final villain was going to be? Because I had no idea the whole
Absolutely not.
time.
I thought they were gonna be the Juto. I think about halfway through the show or something, I was so dead set. I was like, the Juto are gonna be the main, like the final bosses because they keep building them up throughout the whole show. Since they've been established, they're like the Juto, or the Noto and the Donbrothers are against the Juto. So I thought it was going to be like the
Ah.
Juto become a big enough threat that now the Noto and the Don brothers are like, well, I guess we'll just work together to defeat all the Juto. And then the Juto plot got resolved in like episode 46 or something, and they're like, there's still 4 episodes left. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I thought it was going to be the Noto trio, but then like I think the episode immediately after is where they started showing like they were pretty goofy. And I was like, oh, this would be... I mean, I like this, but I'm not sure if this would fit as a final boss now. And then... I thought it was going to be Murasame, because they hadn't been doing anything with him. Yeah, I thought... Because they were doing, like, that plot line where he kept, like, getting out of control and turning into the premium Bandai repaint. Then...
sorry.
That was the final boss. So yeah, then I thought it was gonna be Osamaki for like when the previews leaked. But yeah, once I saw the Noto, then I was like, oh, I guess they're probably the bosses. So yeah, at least those last 4 episodes too, they kept me guessing because I was so dead set on it being the Juto, and then when they showed off the Don brothers and Noto were gonna be united, I thought they were gonna do a thing where they had the 9 Don brothers fighting the 3 Juto, fighting. Actually, it wouldn't be 9 Don brothers because I thought it was going to be Jiro as the Penguin Juto. And I thought it was going to be
imagine if they did that!
Like you know, a lot of the fights in the season are Don brothers versus Noto versus Monster. They were trying to save the life of the monster by defeating it.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like that. It was Don brothers, new Don brothers versus new Noto versus new monster, which is Jiro, so they're fighting to save Jiro. But then they proved that wrong immediately after because they resolved the Juto, which I don't have a problem with because I guess Jiro wasn't the Juto anyway, so it doesn't really matter. That wouldn't have happened.
That
anyway.
would have made a really interesting final battle if it was Taro versus his Kyohai, his underling.
Yeah,
that would have been a really interesting fight. Fair.
I remember.
Fair enough.
A lot of people were saying Jiro would be the final boss too. And I was like, I don't see how that would... Like, I think, at a certain point then I was like, the show definitely does a lot of things different, but I feel like turning a ranger into the final boss feels a bit too... Like, that feels like something where someone would step in and be like, anyway, you have to stop cooking a little bit. We can't have you... We can have rangers fighting, but we can't have the final boss be a ranger.
We can't have 2 males kissing and empowering in a Super Sentai, because that's just wrong.
Whoa.
Me wanting it forever. Me still hoping it comes true.
Sorry, I just kind of zoned out for a bit. Hi.
A bit?
Hi, Aki.
Yeah, a bit. Hi. Yeah, I agree with what all you guys said. I think my favorite part of Donbrothers... No, I genuinely do. I was listening. I just couldn't speak for a bit. I was going to say, my favorite part of Donbrothers definitely has to be when they just didn't know what to have as, like, the mecha fight. So they just, like, made Don Murasame, like, become the repaint twice. That was so funny, dog.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of think it was interesting they did that because it spices up the mecha fights a little bit, but
it does. I think it was cool. It was just funny.
Yeah, it was, especially too because the way it happens is it's just Mother be like, Murasame, you can do this. You could have done this the whole time. Okay, hi, Mother.
Mother, I can't control my powers. And then it becomes fucking mecha. I'm not complaining. It's an Inoue show. Whatever needs to be done needs to be done. You know. I mean,
was that? Do you think it was Inoue who made Black Oni Taijin, or was it?
Oh no, it was definitely banned. Like Toei,
because they made Murasame.
I mean, like in a way, but it's like Inoue just wants to tell his story, so like the middle parts, like, you know, the mecha fights and whatnot can just be done. He doesn't really care much about them. That's
true. So they're like, all right, you have to incorporate this thing. And he's like,
yeah, Murasame can grow big, right? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. I remember there being like a theory that Don Murasame was actually the boyfriend at the beginning of the series to Haruka. Did you guys
Oh,
hear that
oh.
theory?
that was I said that theory.
Did
I
you say
had-
that? Was it you that said
I-
that theory? I remember
I had a
someone
variant
mentioned
of the
it.
theory. I had a variant of it where I said that I thought that Murasame was gonna like use him as a human host. Because his name was Hanamura. Hanamura-same. So it
Ah.
was like if all the Donbrothers have
Similar
whatever
things,
names in
Yeah.
their real name, it's like that guy has part of Don Murasame's name in his real name.
So that would
it
be
would
okay.
work.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think
he
they
just-
definitely. I think they definitely like possibly had all these different things that they wanted to bring up. Started suggesting them or started putting things out there, so like having Don Murasame there, but then they might have not had time to or budget to like go through with it, if that makes sense. Or they're just opening things up for future movies and future bits and bobs. So
Yeah, I doubt they'll
because it feels
ever
like there's a
bring
lot
him
of
back.
them. Say again, sorry.
I was gonna say I doubt they'll ever bring the boyfriend back though and like have him use Murasame. So I think that was
Where
just
did he
either like a
go? He just
yeah,
disappeared.
exactly. He just disappeared. So I'm pretty sure it's just like a random winky dink, or
Okay, talking of
maybe it was an idea and then they were just like it's kind of cooler to have the sword just flying around, which I do agree with. So whatever. Probably because I guess if you do that now you have to juggle like one extra character because Murasame goes from being Murasame to Murasame and Hanamura. So
True.
Yeah, I was gonna say. One point I want to bring up, as for like Don Brothers as a whole, sorry, Keza, is I think is Don Brothers really is a funny show because you have, because like it's basically like the most Inoue show to ever Inoue, right? With with how it uses like the usual Sentai tropes and how Inoue himself incorporates his own twist to them, like the love triangles is like a thing that happens in both Sentai and in Noah shows. It's like a staple. Miscommunication. I think all of these were done really well, and also the most prominent Inoue thing to do is not giving explanations when needed, and I think that brought up like a heated discourse, especially on Toku Twitter, and I think like some people just don't get how Inoue's writing style works and just accept something that is just not Inoue. And I find that to be really funny because it's like, it never explains stuff that doesn't matter to, like the initial plot or the themes, right?
I was gonna say,
So,
is
like-
this a common thing for him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is for sure.
Very.
Okay.
Fast,
Cool.
Shiva, all of that, and it's like, and yeah, I think it's. I don't think it's like a weakness for Inoue per se, because he still manages to tell his stories the way he wants to. That's like his strength. He really focused on the story he wants to tell. That's why the way toys are integrated, or most of the forms are integrated into his stories a lot, not really the strongest, or like not really the bare minimum at all. But he still managed to make it work. And I think Donbrothers is like a really good example of that, because you don't really have an you don't really have an explanation for stuff like that, like Don Kaito, or stuff like that. But it's the story still works, so doesn't really matter, does it? That's my
to me.
opinion.
No, I'm kidding.
Uh,
This is actually the first Inoue written show I've watched. I saw Rider Time Ryuki, so if that counts for something. Yeah, I do agree with you. Like, at least very early on, I realized he seems like that kind of writer where, like he focuses on the overall themes and whatever, like the big overarching stuff. So a lot of like the little details are kind of like the lack of explanations for some stuff kind of feels like him moving pieces in place so he can focus on those overarching things. Like the Dawn Blasters will just randomly appear. Sometimes they have to pull them out, and that seems like kind of a thing. Like, well, in this scene, it will randomly appear to like resonate more with whatever is happening with the characters, and in this scene they'll pull it out because now it resonates in this theme with the characters. So yeah, I definitely agree. He seems like that kind of writer who will move like stretch things to his will to work.
Yeah.
But it's to serve the overall narrative, which I think is interesting. I liked it.
Yeah, I think
Sometimes.
when he makes it work, he makes it work. I think that's like his biggest strength because of his writing style, you really do get to see like some of the best characters in tokusatsu, in my opinion, like Kibayushi and most of the say Taro himself or Takumi from Fires. I think all of these characters are phenomenal, and also benefit from also his writing style.
True. Actually, so while you brought up Don Kaito, should we briefly talk about Don Kaito? Because Keza said she had a theory, and I want to hear the theory
yeah.
for
Okay. I was gonna put
Wait.
this in my video next week, but I'll say it now.
Before you say
because...
it, can I guess it?
Sure.
Is it at Zenkai's? It's because of the white Taro, so he reset. Is it like that?
Maybe. Can I explain why though?
Yeah. I want to hear the explanation.
Okay, so obviously we know Kaito from the Sentai before in Zenkaija, but obviously in this show specifically, he is not as energetic, and he is not as what's the word? He's not as energetic
Happy.
as he was before, and he was not as happy exactly. But he is in like black and white. Very similar to the suit that we saw Taro in. And the way he explained it was that his time was over. He was able to rest now. And he was able to like go to sleep or like get reset. So his job was done as a hero. However, for some reason, Kaito or Master knows about this. So I'm like, okay, maybe when they are reset, possibly in the future, Taro will remember things. But just imagine seeing Black Taro like just walking around. That'd be cool, I think. But yeah, that was pretty much his thing. That was pretty much my theory, is that he is reset. So for Kaito, this is just his resetted world. He just knows a lot more. I don't know if Taro will know as much or what will happen in the future for Taro. But like, I definitely see that because he was the hero in his world, the hero of heroes. Taro's dad literally said, "Hero of heroes, what are you doing here?"
True
and he got
hero.
surprised. The true hero, sorry, not hero of heroes. Sorry, the true hero. I think I was thinking of stars of stars of stars.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's why I was just like, wait, no, that's not right.
Hero of the
But
hero of
it's
the
like,
heroes.
because he is. Well, how did you describe it again? Top hero? I got distracted with the stars of stars again.
True hero.
True
Or
hero,
just call
thank
him
you.
Hero of the Heroes. It's funny.
I'm so confused. Because he was a true hero and his time was up, and obviously time has passed. I think that he was reset, and that's why he's got the black suit. I know people in chat are already saying, "Oh, that I already know that. That's everyone's theory." But
Oh, you knew that the
we
whole
watched
time
it today.
after you're saying they knew that the whole time, even though we only got this information in the last
Like yesterday.
20 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
Literally.
Okay.
But that is my theory. I think he was also reset from his duties in his world, and he's just been taken somewhere else. Or this is his world, but everything's been reset. Because the basic idea, the way that Taro looks at the very end of the episode is completely different. He's got the white he's got the white tracksuit for his new postage job, which is with White Rabbit or something like that. I couldn't remember
Yeah.
what they called it, but it had like a rabbit on the logo, and he was in a white and red clothing this time instead of the polar bear. So I was just like, that's pretty much explained why Kaito's cafe is completely different now. Everything's changed for them not to remember what the past was, or something to do with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. That seems like the explanation the show is implying. So, I guess
That's
we'll
why I
have
was
to
just like,
wait
whoa.
for the movie to find out.
But
Even
in
though
the trailer for the movie,
Yeah, he's not in
the
the trailer.
crossover, he's the
He's not in it.
black
Or Black
Black
Zenkaiser isn't
Taro,
in it.
Black Zenkaiser isn't in it, but I think maybe it's like either before, so it's like time travel in some way, or
No, it
oh my
it
god,
takes place
what
a
if
year after.
no, but like I mean, because Kaito's back to normal, isn't he?
Yeah, the Zenkaiger Kaito. Yeah,
Maybe he goes
yeah,
back in time, and
maybe.
that's the beginning of the show. I don't know. But I was thinking, maybe they have to remember. Maybe they have to become heroes again, and that's why they've got their original suits back in the trailer.
Maybe. Oh yeah.
Because
Although
Kaito is back in his red suit, in his rainbow suit.
yeah,
He's
and
not Master
Taro, but
anymore.
they said Taro like somehow gets his memories back in the movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's because they have
So,
to become heroes again, so they're not
yeah,
retired anymore. That's why they get their colors back.
it's true. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Thank you. Thank you for
You're
listening to my
welcome.
TED Talk.
Thank you, Kaza Henshin, for your TED
You're
talk.
welcome. You're welcome, Tom Jujubi. Tom Jujubi?
Tom
I
I felt
can't
weird.
believe you.
I felt
Thomas
weird.
brother.
I
Wow.
felt weird.
Wow. No, I'm a Noto.
I see Tom Mamato. Tom Mamato.
No, I'm Sonokyu. I don't know how that works.
I think okay. So my theory on Don Kaito is
Oh, yeah,
that
sorry.
no.
is that Kaito from Zenkaiger, Zenkaiser. He traveled to the Don Brothers world, sold everything, including his own morpher and stuff like that, and bought a cafe, and then became super sad, and so now he was just a cool cafe owner, and that's it.
That's very simple.
Wow, amazing.
Well,
And they literally say
I
that.
hope.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree or fight for your thing on your theory because that's what you think, and I won't disagree with your theory.
I'm memeing.
You guys
No,
listen to me saying, you guys listen to me being like, Donbrothers is a simulation. So, I mean, you guys could do whatever you want.
Don Brothers is
My
real.
theory, since episode 1, which I guess I think at this point it still hasn't been really disproven, is that in Zenkaiser, when Kaito used the gear, the Don Brothers gear, because of the style of those gears, like it looks like one of the Tojiru gears in Zenkaiger, which is where they house worlds. So my theory has been that when Kaito used that gear, it created the Don Brothers world. So, like, I don't know if it exists within the gear or if it's just the world now exists because he used that gear. And the reason Kaito exists in that world is it's like it created a copy of the person that used the gear. So he's like a shadow of the Zenkaiser that used it, so he's black now. And that's why he's the admin and is like aware of everything because he's quite literally the god that made this dimension. And that also is like kind of why it's like so messed up because it's like wasn't supposed to exist, I guess. Some people just spontaneously combust into monsters. And that's why the Sentai gears are there, I guess. That doesn't really explain that part, but they don't explain it either, so.
No, I get that because I thought like the monsters were like glitches in the system and they had to get rid of the glitch or something.
Yeah.
And that's why the monsters were there and they were trying to save the powers. I thought that was why they had all those different, like, it was like a memorial, not a memorial thing. It was like they could reference
Memorial
all those other
Donbass?
shows. Out in, what? I was going to say out in shops now, but it's not, is it? But I thought that's, I don't have enough money to buy it, but that's fine. But that's why I thought it was kind of like a simulation or a game because Master was able to change anything with his computer.
Right, yeah.
Literally changed the world and how it worked and how things became real. Does that make sense? Like, that boggled my mind when that first was announced. I was like,
I'm not
how
gonna
does...
lie.
Yeah?
I completely forgot about that until you brought it up.
Yeah, the wishes. Like, you could literally wish for anything, and it just became true. Like, most of the time, there were wishes that just changed completely. Like, Inu brother became a fugitive because he tried to help Sononi. Yeah, sorry. I was like, which Sonoi was it? Sononi.
Which one was it?
Which one was it? Sonoi.
The woman one.
The woman one.
Lady
Sonoi.
Sonoi.
No,
Tsunami!
Lady Tsunami. Inferior
Um,
Sunogo.
But it was just like one thing I stated at the very beginning. I was just like, that's so sad. People want to have all these powers and stuff, and they get to have all this good luck and wishes, but then once they give luck or whatever, or they give the wish, they have such bad luck returning to them. I was just like, what a
Yeah.
turn off for the team. Like, they want to help people, but every time they use a wish, they get such bad luck.
Actually, when Haruka used them to retire, she was fine. I think, right? In one of those early episodes where they had the other Oni sister.
Oh,
yeah,
Wasn't that
the-
actually who Oni Sister was going to be, and they brought her in for an episode? I
Oh,
thought that
no,
was
no,
so
it
was-
sweet.
No, it was like a thing where she auditioned to be Oni's sister, but she didn't get it.
She was
Yeah.
going to get it, though, I think. I think it was like
No,
between the
I-
two of them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, she was the runner-up, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's so
mean,
sweet that they allowed her
I
to
think-
jump in as well.
Yeah, I think that episode is actually like one of my favorites in Donbrothers as a whole, because I think it really does declare like a moving and also a development point for Haruka herself. Because the thing is, oh, I hate being a Donbrother. Oh, this misfortune sucks, and then she changes back, and when it happens, and when she sees someone else be in pain and understands that pain, she rather prefers that she takes the pain on herself so that not someone else feels this, because she understands it. It's more so like a subtle way to also show how much she has grown in a way, and I really like that in the show. I think it was one of my favorite episodes for sure.
The last episode really showcases that. You really see their growth. Like at the
Yeah.
beginning, they were such a group of misfits. They were like really up themselves because of the haikus. They were constantly trying to be like, oh, I'm a celebrity, I'm writing my own manga. And they all got their cohapens. Is that the right word? They all got what was coming to them, I guess. They all got a bit of karma, and they all, by the end of episode 50, they had all matured and learnt from their experience as a Don brother. Though we as an audience might see it as like, oh my god, they just messed around for 50 episodes, or some people might say that. I had a thoroughly great time. But they pretty much, there was loads of episodes where they were just kind of like, there were a few filler episodes where you were just like, there was no need for this. But if you think about it, throughout all of these episodes, all 50 episodes, they matured and learnt over time, and it really showed that they appreciated their journey in the last episode when Taro was going around everyone and asking them, do you regret being a Don brother? And they all said, no, I would do it again.
Oh.
Which I thought was
Same.
a beautiful moment. Even Kiji brother was just like, even though I don't have my wife with me,
Is Miho.
I still want to fight for myself. I thought that was a really powerful moment.
That was
Kiji
pretty
brother
cool.
creeped me out some episodes, like with that whole doll thing.
Oh, I completely
hated
forgot
that.
about that. Oh my god.
The fact that like Kiji brother, sorry, the fact that Inu brother came in to make sure he was okay, and he was just talking to a doll. I was just like,
He was like, okay, wait, maybe I will help you and go to dinner.
you
and
need some help.
You need help. I was gonna
But-
ask,
Yeah.
Lucky, since you brought up the Oni sister episode, and now that we know that Haruka's misfortune was because an alternate dimension Haruka traveled to the past accidentally and just decided to masquerade as a bunny.
Oh my gosh, yes. I
Does
forgot
that mean that Marina's misfortune, when the other person became Oni's sister, in that version of events, was that a future version of her that used the points and traveled to the past accidentally and is now in a, let's say, a lion costume and plagiarized
pictures?
that? Yeah, taking those pictures is that's like the one thing where I'm like, is this? I mean, I guess that's what had to happen because there's no other explanation. I just think it's funny to think about in hindsight, like, because they were kind of setting up like the misfortune with stuff that happened as a Don brother. Like, I think to Inuzaka as a fugitive was kind of implied to be part of his Don brothering, I thought, or at least that's the sense I got. And then later they're like, no, it's a Juto thing. And then later they're like, no, Oni sister's thing just randomly happened to her because they had this bunny costume for 10 years in the Toei warehouse, and they're like, let's bring it out
Really?
one last time. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
I
in Ghost
love
Sager
that!
apparently.
That's so fun.
Which,
Oh.
you know, it probably smells insane in there as well.
Yeah.
What? Why are you thinking about how it smells?
It's
been in the
a
warehouse
10-year-old
for years.
costume. Yeah, I know.
That's gonna smell of something.
That's why she
Don't they
doesn't appear
clean
very
those?
often.
Don't they?
They have to have a
Oh.
body actor. They have to have a suit actor for the bunny or costume when she's not in it.
Suit actor has to
I need
wear
to-
like a gas mask.
Oh, yeah.
What were you gonna say, Aki?
Smells. Nothing.
Can I
Yeah.
ask your opinion on
Alright.
something then? Oh, sorry. Aki, you alright?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's everyone's favorite episode?
Ooh.
Oh.
I think this is like a good topic to talk about because I think Donbrothers has like some of my favorite Monster of the Week episodes in Toku.
I have to think about that one for a second.
I can only think of episodes where Taro and Sonoi had the chat with them
Of
in the movie.
course.
And their fight against each other, the original one where they had to fight with each other.
Oh yeah, dual.
And then just the final episode, like literally just probably because it's literally just happened, but the final episode had me bawling through the whole thing, and it was just such a good episode. Like, even though there were some things that were still left unmentioned, like who the heck was Mother, but I think for what it was, they really did it well. I just was really happy with how they ended it.
I don't think they had to explain Mother because it seems like Mother was like all the Dons have two personalities. Taro has
You all don't have a voice in it.
normal Taro and the other Taro when he's in suit.
Yes.
Dorogoku's self-explanatory, and then for Murasame, it seemed like Mother was just like a secondary like
conscious?
voice. Yeah, just like
Yeah.
another level of programming to like guide.
Oh,
the
okay, that makes sense.
consciousness.
Actually, I'll accept that. That's what happens, guys. That's what it is.
You're
No need
welcome,
to
Tessa.
say anything
Now
else. Thank you.
I improved this entire show for you. That's a dub.
Yes, you did. That makes more sense.
Don Morrison was cool. I liked it when he was like, shark.
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 I like when he was sharp.
And he was
We
like,
got some.
what's up?
What's
I'm
up?
off my game today. Don't worry.
That's all right. Shall we?
This was your idea.
We can ask Marcos, or we can ask chat what their favorite episodes are, because we're getting some suggestions in chat. It's like episode 27, the Taro versus Sonoi fight, which is a really good episode. Episode 43 with Future Haruka, a very good episode again. And episode 46 when Taro ruled over the Jutos with his OP power. Like, that was a good episode.
Burned
I
them
liked that
all.
episode.
Yeah, why? Does Donbrothers have any bad episodes? Let's think about it.
Yes. Yes.
Which episode? The one where Sonogo dies?
Well, no, because actually I like the rest of that episode. So, I was gonna say the Dawn Killer episode.
It was just silly fun
Ah.
episode. I don't mind.
I
it.
like. I mean, it's fine for what it is. Like when I say it's a bad episode, I don't really think it's horrific. But it's just like the
Compared to
episode's
rest
like,
of it.
oh, this is when the Donbrothers all died or something, and then it's just kind of like Taro beating them up in like a nice outfit, and then just the random Dawn Killer is Shinichi. Like that's or Sutterhara. That's the one thing where I'm like, I didn't need an explanation, I guess, but it's like, why does the Dawn Clan have a robot that looks like a like from their perspective, they would have made this 20 years
random
ago,
man.
and it's just a random man, yeah, that happens to look like the future
It's
daughter
really
brother.
bad.
And then
It's
also
like-
like at the very end is like the big example of like kind of at least one of my somewhat like minor problems that just kind of happens consistently over the show, where like they're fighting the Dawn Killers, and like at least it's like I guess the Dawn Killers will be the end of the episode or something, and then the Hitosuki just runs in from off screen, and then Taro and Jiro notice it, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I guess we'll fight this now." And then they quickly do their finisher, and then they quickly go into the mecha fight, and they just do the finisher in the mecha fight, and then they go back to the ground, and then the Dawn Killers fly away.
I think you consider about like the last 15 episodes. Sometimes shit just happens. It's like I've been like the last I've been like 37 to 48, right? And it was like that shit happens 3 times in the span of 10 episodes. And at that point, I was like, at least it's pretty, you know. I'm not complaining.
True.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't know. It just
like
kind of
several-
bugs me.
There were several episodes that probably did not even need to be involved in the show, but was a good time when it was there. Like,
Yeah,
Okay,
honestly, actually,
Bill.
I feel like I might dislike the one where Inu Brothers stole that painting one more. That one's just kind of that one's just kind of boring. Like, at least Dawn Killer is like, well, I don't know what's happening anymore. There's just these monsters or these robots fighting each other. But then that one is just like, hey, you're a dog. Help me steal this painting. And like also too, that's where they debut Toradora Oni Taijin. Like,
yeah. I think
the episode has nothing to do with Jiro or Taro. It's an Inu Brother episode, and then at the end they're like, "Hey, let's combine." And it's like, "Oh, okay, sure,
Toys,
yeah,
people,
go for it."
toys.
Yeah,
Yeah, but okay, we're talking about like the episode where Inu Brother like steals painting, right? That episode. I think I really like that episode. I think it was really cool because I think it was just a cute episode because Inu Brother who also understands love and it's like most indulged and basically trapped by a love he has for someone, understands a possession that's like important to someone because of personal values. So he wants to help. Because of miscommunication, oh, this happens, that happens, blah, 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 blah. Classic, stuff. So it's like just fun, That's what I can say.
You guys,
It's just cute.
yeah, you guys also mentioned like Inu Brother. So like, I for the longest time was getting sick that they didn't show the identity of Inu Brother to the others. But I guess it was alright. By the end, I was just like, okay, yeah, I appreciate that it took that long. But what do you guys think of how long it took for them to introduce the Black Ranger to the others? Like, did you like the fact that they just didn't involve him? Huh?
I want to fight Marcos's chat because they're saying that I'm talking about the one where Inu Brother gets cursed and becomes a dog.
That's not the one we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking about the one where they become a painting. That dog episode is amazing. Purely for the ending bit where he turns back into a human and keeps eating
the food.
Yeah, he was eating the dog food and the girl kept petting his head. It was like, what?
How does he eat food through the helmet? Or is it just one of the obviously it's like one of those things where you're just like you don't question it and it just happens. But I was just like, how?
You should never question.
Right. Sorry to cut it off. Marcos, we're gonna tell us to wrap it up because it's like over the time limit.
Marcus will never do that.
What time limit is
Aki,
it?
are you trying to end the stream?
No, I was
just good time.
Aki, yeah, we're talking.
No?
Come on, Aki.
I mean, we're talking. You're just kind of listening, aren't you, Mark?
Oh my god!
Come on, Aki. Do you not like or do you wanna?
I love Donbrothers. No, it usually takes like an hour. I was just making sure down.
Usually.
Now.
Yeah. It was. That's how it was with you.
As asked us an interesting question, and Aki's like, personally, I'll pass.
Yes, come on, Aki.
Oh, my bad.
I'll pass.
I asked a question and nah.
Anyways, to answer your question, Keza,
Thank you.
I'm kind of mixed on it because I liked that they kept like the identity secret for so long because I thought it was interesting they had to learn each other's identities, and they kept that going throughout the whole show until the end with Inuzaka, and also too because they kept delaying his identity reveal, then it kind of made him into like his own protagonist. Like when it was a focus episode for him, the episode was just about him. Like you didn't see Taro at all except for like one scene.
Like in the
I thought
fight
that was
at the
really
end.
interesting. Yeah, in the fight or like the morph or whatever. So I thought that was pretty cool that like he became like a secondary protagonist as the Black Ranger, which we usually don't see unless it's another Inoue show, I guess. But then like, and also too, because when he finally joins the Donbrothers, because he has all this extra info about the Juto and all this and that when he joins the team, like that's when the Juto plotline hits its climax, because now they have all the pieces and they can bring them together and stuff. The problem I have is like just I like seeing these characters interact, so it's a little disappointing that we don't get Tsubasa thrown into that mix very often, because he is off doing his own thing, and also because they spend the whole show like doing like without Inu Brother, and then by the time they get to Inu Brother joining the team, now we're in the last stretch of the show and we have to focus on plot stuff. I genuinely would have loved like a clip show episode of them talking with Inuzaka about everything that's happened while he wasn't on the team or something. Like, he has no idea Taro died twice. So it would have been funny if they had an episode if they are just explaining everything to him now, so he gets what's happening, and vice versa, he explains everything to them. Because, like, it would have been funny to have, like, a bit where they're like, hey, there was that time we found another guy that was Inu Brother. What was that about? And he's like, oh, I have no idea. We just bumped into each other. He had the glasses accidentally, and that was that. Like, I kind of would have liked if they had, like genuinely a clip show would have been so fun with that. And then at the end, you can have the twist that's like, wait, we have to go to Jiro's village now or whatever. And then next episode's all the plot stuff. So that's just me, though. I would have liked more Tsubasa with the team, I guess. But I did like how they handled his delayed identity reveal.
The thing that I liked about it especially was the fact that, like, obviously we had Taro and Sonoi interacting quite a lot, and we got this genuine friendship between the two of them. But then for the others, they knew about Inu Brothers' identity from the very beginning. Like, they knew. Even Jiro knew, and they were like, "Nah, it's not him," which I thought was also very funny.
Actually, that's what. I just want to quickly say, like, that's another thing too, where like Jiro said he was Inu Brother, and they didn't believe him. And then when they get the identity revealed, it's Inu Brother. They don't address that at all. It would have been fun if Jiro's like, "Hey, I was right," and then. Anyways, sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, even though he was alone for most of the show, we got these awesome interactions and conversations between him and the Noto. Like, that's why Sononi was so attached to him, and I saw that relationship kind of like start, and I was just like, this is nice, because she is showing like actual genuine interest in this guy, and I just thought it was a really good thing. Like, I enjoyed it a lot because of that, and we got all these interactions that we wouldn't have got if Inu Brother was with the others. Like, we wouldn't have got those interactions at all.
Yeah, I think.
Which I'm glad we did.
Yeah, I think structure-wise, this show was really solid. Also, talking of Sononi, I want to say I think she's beautifully written. I know a lot of people disagree. I think they're just simply wrong.
I like how she's written. I just don't like her voice and other things. But as a character, I think they did a great job with her.
Thomas Jujubee hates women, everyone. Hear it.
Let's not go there. Let's not.
No, don't worry, we won't.
I have no problem with the or the actress herself. I mean, she did a good job of acting. So I don't have a problem with.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen a lot of people say she's just become this person who's like obsessed over Tsubasa and nothing else, which is true, but it's not bad writing. Because from the get go, her whole thing is understanding love and learning about it. And throughout the show, you see also her become interested in Tsubasa, because his love is unconditional. So, and it's something she is unfamiliar with. So when she gets interested in what Tsubasa has to offer, they spend more time. They become closer and closer. And when Sononi does indeed learn love, she tries to pursue it by the person who made her understand what it was, which I think to be really human and like a really normal behavior. I don't think it's Inoue being bad at writing women. I think
No, definitely not.
it's just a natural progression of what can be called someone's first love.
Hmm.
So
It's
True.
they almost become baby-like, don't they? Because they're all about learning about these experiences, so they have no idea how to learn about them, how to experience them, and how to react to them. And the fact that like she is so head over heels is so human. Like, do you remember your first love, guys? Guys, do you remember your first crushes?
I'd
Like-
rather
Talk
not.
about it.
Exactly. We won't talk about it because it brings up awkward conversations, awkward moments. But the fact for me, for Sononi, is that she was willing to die for him without even thanking her or saying anything to her. Sorry, without even thanking him for what he did to her. She was willing to die for him without telling
True.
him. And
Without even
that
knowing
for
what
me
love
was
was.
the moment. I was just like, wow, okay. Someone who's supposed to be your villain has fallen for you. That's like the full on true meaning of enemies to lovers, and is exactly the same thing for Taro and Sonoe. And I will be quiet now.
But you're right.
I try not to speak too much about BL because I know that not everyone agrees with me.
I agree with
Nah,
you. Keep going.
Nah,
I
they
agree.
gay as hell.
Go.
I agree.
Keep going.
Well, okay, so if you're allowing me to talk about this, and we're continuing it from the Sonoe, continuing it from Sononi and Tsubasa, but with Taro and Sonoe.
Yeah. Unless
Literally in
Aki.
that last episode.
Oh my god, right? Leave me
Like you have
alone.
somewhere to be.
I actually do.
Damn
No, I can't.
Sorry,
leave.
we didn't know.
No, it's okay.
You're saying, Kaza?
I'll make it quick. The moment that was really nice in the last episode for me was that moment where Sonoe had walked away to help Sononi and Sonoza. And even though he knew that Taro will never know what he did for him, allowing them to have that last moment as a group, he went and stood up for them and protected them, which is like another thing like he won't know about that. Sononi didn't tell Inuzuka that she protected him and almost died. It has that same kind of element, if that makes sense, which is why I am obsessed with it.
And you like boys love.
And I like boys love, yeah.
That's a very important part.
Have I got the name? Have I got the name of Sononi X Taro #1 fan?
Zanoni.
Sononi.
Zanoni X Taro.
No, sorry, no, Sononi X Taro.
I was like, whoa.
When you don't know how to count.
Please.
Can't believe you.
My
was
two
gonna
brain
say-
cells are working way too hard.
The Zanoni thing. Personally, if I died and then I came back to life and discovered that someone else revived me, I would be very interested in them as well. I don't know about you, but especially if I knew them prior and they're like, "Yeah, I'll revive you." I don't know. I feel like there's.
I mean, she was very interested in him. It was
That's
him
true. She was-
not realizing.
She was already interested, and then he revived her, so she's like, "Oh my goodness,
Swoons.
he likes me." I mean,
But then he
Sonoe
had.
can tell her from experience that if a person revives you from death, you like them. So
I mean, there is an element that he must have had something with her because, had some feelings towards her, because you would not save someone who almost got you to kill your own like girlfriend. Like, there would be no way.
it's true.
There is so much wrong with that. If you were forced to maybe even kill your own partner by
Yeah.
even if it was just because they're like, I'm in love with you, you would not go back to them. The fact that he risked so many points in his wishes to save her says something. And I just thought that was really nice. And the fact that Natsumi wasn't even willing to fight for them together at the end, and at least Sononi
Sononi.
was. It was just heartwarming seeing them together. There was a point in the show where I was just like, Fuck Natsumi. Go with Sononi, please.
That's what I was gonna ask. How do you feel about the ending where he goes with Sononi instead of Natsumi?
I was very happy, and to be honest, the Natsumi literally said, "I had a dream where I was happy, and this dream was reality in some way." Like, imagine that. Imagine having that conversation, being like, "I was in a dream for months. I was happy. I was married. I had my dream job. You weren't there, but a random guy that apparently I know it was there, and it was real." Like, I thought
Yeah.
for the
That's
longest
fucked up.
time. It is fucked up. But for the longest time, I was just like, oh my god, how are they going to fix this situation? How are they going to come out of this situation without not having an issue? Kiji Brothers weird. I'm excited for them to get back together. But then seeing that interaction and how they've matured through their lives by being the Don Brothers, it made it different. And I'm glad that Miho / Natsumi and Kiji Brother are together because they were genuinely happy together.
I'm not. Hope he
Wow.
dies.
Well,
I don't know. I don't like they get back together, or it's implied they'll try to get back together, because that's like weird to me.
I mean,
But
it's a weird situation, but
yeah, but I don't mind Tsubasa with Tsunoda. I mean,
exactly.
especially since Natsumi's the one who's like, well, Tsubasa, you spent over a year trying to look for me. You risked your life multiple times. You
Mhm.
went to a different dimension forest thing and became a monster briefly to try
But
and
it's
save
fine.
me. But yeah, but I don't think this will work between us. So bye bye.
Exactly.
And then there's this other woman who's like Tsubasa that he knows and likes. It's like, Tsubasa, what if we held hands? And he's like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So I like the scene of them on the run is actually kind of like cute. I don't know, like the
Yeah.
fact they both now have wanted posters together.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something like oddly cute about that, considering Tsubasa started the show on the run as well. So yeah, frick Natsumi. I mean, I guess maybe she deserves Kijino because they're both horrible people. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. They
didn't think
both
of that one.
deserve each other. They both deserve each other, and I'm more happy that Sononi and Tsubasa are together more than Miho or Natsumi and Kiji brother are together, if that makes sense. I'm more happy that
Yeah.
Sononi and Inazuka are together. I'm just like, you two, as you said, you two deserve each other. Have each other.
Yeah.
Like, no one's gonna touch you now. Like, have you two together. So
I think it's cute. You know, like lovers on the run.
Yeah,
That's cute.
lovers on the run. I
Mm.
think that's kind of fun. They
Love
can.
it.
I really do hope though we get like a proper conclusion to them too in
Versus.
in the Versus movie.
I mean, it's a year after, isn't it?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll see like what's happening in a year to them. If they're still
Also,
running after a year,
Hopefully, they have something sorted. But
Unless.
why is Sononi? Why does Sonoi look like he's been in a tent or something for a year?
What?
Surely like in the trailer, he looks. Oh no, okay. You know what he looks like? He looks like the sushi guy. I think he's taken over the sushi hut.
Gonna check. I have no idea what you're talking about.
In the trailer, there's a shot of Sonoi, his eyes as blue as ever, looking pretty, and he's literally just like in like this weird background, and I'm like, this is either he's just been living in a random tent, or he's in like at the food stall.
Let's see.
I have to zoom through a bit, but I'm like, surely if Taro has no memories, you guys could like start talking again. Like, I hope they haven't just let Taro just go. I hope they actually bring him back and interact with him, because that would be weird if they didn't bring him back. If they knew he was around with memories gone and they didn't interact with him. Sorry, Odin. Sorry.
Yeah, I found
He's
you
an
meant.
Odin
Yeah,
seller.
he's in the Odin place.
Mm.
For sure.
Okay, so he takes over the Oda play. Oh my god! Oh, that was one of the points I wanted to bring up. I was just like, guys, the fact that this Odin car has become so important to the story, especially for Sonoi. Like, this is where he learnt things about the world.
That's where he reverted personalities. He took a bite of Odin and switched. He cried.
like,
He
nah.
cried the personality out of him.
He was just like, the
That
humans
was
got some
just
good
like
food though.
That was
He
just
tried
like
it, it's like-
unright Kabuto. You get what I mean? Like good food changes a person.
Good food.
You know?
Exactly.
No
What were you
comment.
saying? No
What do
comment.
you want? What do you want from Kabuto, dog?
What do you mean? Whoa, are you saying dog again?
He got the dog in him. In him? He got that dog in
Oh my
him.
gosh, even
it?
Kaza's.
look.
You guys
I
have
got-
corrupted my brain. Hence,
got that
Dragons
dog
is
in me.
corrupted.
We?
I got that
Corrupted
dog.
me.
It's true.
Yes. Yes, we.
I- Yeah, it's true. I got that dog in me. I'm just like your brother.
You know what, Kaza? Roll me a 1d20.
Really? Okay. Where's
No, no,
the
no, no, no,
I need to get it. Wait, where's my D&D? Okay, where is it? Okay, I've got it. You ready? 1d20. 1.
1. So that ends the stream. Thank you, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, be real, Marcus.
That was just funny.
Aki, come on.
Bye.
Aki's a
Wait,
hater.
Aki, if you need to go, I mean, we're not gonna.
I don't want to leave it. I don't want to leave it in the middle. I'm here till it ends.
Alright,
Obviously,
it's
whatever
ending
you have to
right
go
now.
to isn't that important.
Goodbye.
Sorry.
I guess you're.
Shout out to people in the chat saying I got that dog in me. So true.
What did
Listen,
you think
actually-
about? Oh, sorry.
Let's just say, speaking of the chat, what? Oh, someone said something funny. Oh, they said that like they know who Tsubasa is, right? So they're like, oh, Tsubasa's on the run, blah blah blah. But like they don't know Sononi's name unless she says it to them. They're just like Tsubasa's on the run with this woman.
This woman.
I thought that was funny. Also, I wanted to ask, what do you guys think Tsubasa is now? Like, what crime do they think he's committed?
Murder.
The crime of love.
Because before it was that's true.
Being
Because before it
strike.
was murder with the Juto. Then it was
Yes.
being a menace when he was a Juto. And then now he's just a criminal because of the world reset with the points. So like
Can
what
someone
what is
translate
he
the
on the
poster?
run for?
Marco,
I don't think
where's
the poster
Marco?
was, oh,
I
I think
can
the poster
translate.
just was wanted.
Can you actually?
Right.
Yeah, let me
What does it
pull
say?
it up.
I'll get a picture of it.
Oh, yes,
What
please.
does it say? What does it say?
I mean,
Dun,
I
dun, dun,
imagine
dun,
it's just
dun,
gonna say like,
dun,
this
dun,
man is
dun,
wanted and this is his girlfriend. Please arrest him.
And this is his girlfriend.
Or are they married at this point? I don't know. I mean,
They're on the run. Like, you hear so many
Yeah, they're-
romance
they're-
tales.
they're already doing their thing forever
doing
until they
huh?
clear their name. No, I mean running away.
Okay, I was just like, oh.
What did you think of
Keza.
that, Henshin?
You were like, they're already doing it. And I was just like,
I did not say
huh?
that. You
You
said
did.
That.
I didn't. I was just repeating you.
Okay,
Can
here
you
go,
work it
M
out?
Coast. It's kind of blurry.
Marco.
Where is it? Okay, let me see. Oh, it has
Marco.
kanji. I can't read that.
That's so helpful. I'm
did
assuming
you
that says
say?
wanted on the side or something.
If we ask Google Translate.
Google Translate, Google Translate.
Nigo imasu. That's pretty much all I got.
They chose a really bad picture of Sononi.
Is
They
that
can't,
bad?
how are they supposed to get a better picture? She's on the run.
It's like security pictures or
They
something.
can only
yeah,
get blurry camera footage or running after her footage.
to blow up 3
it
cop cars.
definitely-
Oh, Sononi blew up 3 cop cars.
Oh
That is
yeah.
true.
I forgot about that. I remember that.
I know enough. I've seen enough Donbrothers tweets to know that the word Sononi is not on here. I think.
Oh yeah.
No.
They just say unknown woman. I
Actually,
think.
no, it's fine. 1,500. Is that like yen? I'm assuming.
That's like.
That's like
10
15
bucks.
pounds, isn't it, or something? Yeah, $10.
Yeah, $15.
Arrest them for $15 for 15
$10.
beds. For
It's like
10
minimum
bucks.
wage. No, it's not even
Oh,
minimum wage. What the
It's not
hell?
even minimum wage. £9 for us in the
Oh my
UK.
goodness.
£8 is minimum wage.
Yeah, what the fuck? 1,500 yen for 2 fugitives?
Maybe
That's
maybe
fucked
it's
up.
just like 1,000 or something, or like
1,500
on the
million.
side. Maybe it's like an extra amount.
Haruka's
but-
aunt can help them as she has a particular
yeah.
eye. Yeah.
Maybe she'll think Sononi's a good criminal too. She's like, oh,
No, that's
they're
why
great
they're on
criminals.
the run. Her aunt, Haruka's aunt, is jealous that Sononi got Tsubasa.
She put out a false hit on both of them. Yeah.
Ooh,
I
maybe.
mean, there's nothing that says you're wrong. So...
Wait, question.
Yes,
Are
sir?
the Juto now complete? No, not Juto. Sorry, the Juto are in the Juto forest. Are the monsters completely gone now because all of the gears are done?
No.
Nah, probably not.
In episode 1, remember before the Ryu Soldier monster went active, there were those they were just blank, like Oni Hitosuki. Ones without Sentai designs. And I mean, presumably, since Kikaiki would have been defeated before the show began, it means it would just randomly be like monsters with no Sentai pattern with them. So, because I mean, that's part of what the finale's about too, is that the Dawn Brothers fight lasts forever because there's always just the human desire always exists, so there's always going to be monsters they have to fight. And then the future Haruka and Sarahara commented on that as well. They're like, you're from X number of years in the future and we're still fighting monster. That's why Haruka went to the past with the Kiwi points, because she got tired of fighting. So
What a time to go back to, though.
I don't think she chose that. It was implied she's like, oh, I want to retire, and then the Kiwi points are like, okay, you're going to the past, have fun.
And Sorahara was like, "We've got to bring you back now."
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how
sorry.
he got there. So
Wishes as well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe
Maybe.
we'll find out in
I would
the
wish
movie
to
or
go
something.
back to the past. They're not going to address the future stuff in the movie.
But I mean, it's a year away, isn't it? It's a year in the future, and somehow Sarahara and Haruka get together.
Yeah, but we don't know how far in the future it was when they got together.
I mean, a year's
Oh.
still a future, so it could be. I'm just saying it's a possibility, Thomas.
Oh, okay. Are you saying they hook up in the movie then? That's when they
What?
fall in love with each
Like
other?
someone asked
Oh,
Can
me.
you
did you
please
not
get
see
your
that
head up?
episode? You did not see that episode, did you?
What episode? Oh, Marcos.
Marcos didn't see them.
Oh no, I was
There's that episode where Sarahara and Haruko come back to this period of time, but like they're from the future, and they
I
get
think
together.
you thought I meant something else when I
Yes.
said my sentence.
Yeah, that's what
You
I-
both, you both have
Like,
terrible,
someone-
terrible minds. You
Oh,
need to.
excuse me.
excuse me.
So
I'm-
you thought I said something else too.
like
Squeeze me.
someone in the chat asked me something. Aki, can you answer me? Who would win the twerk off? Sorrow Brother or Sonoi? Okay, guys, stop.
Oh,
Blue versus blue.
blue
mean-
versus blue.
Would it? Sarahara has to win because he has the red booty on the suit.
Yeah,
He does have a
but
red booty.
when you think about it, Sonoi is like perfectionist, right? So if he masters the art of throwing it back,
I can't see Sonoi having
Yeah. I
the
can't see that.
not the flexibility, but the relaxedness of doing it. I think Sarahara, because he's always like squatted, I think he will win.
Is this
I
a
think-
legitimate conversation we're having?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think Sonoi only wins if Taro tells him to do it. Then he'll put his whole effort into it.
I do have another question if we're going off of this question.
Oh no!
It's
Yeah.
a bit more. It's actually going into the show a bit and talking about of the ending slightly more. What did you guys think of Taro losing his memories in the last 2 episodes and then being reset and that whole kind of storyline?
Yeah, I love Kamen Rider Revice.
I'm right or
Point, actually.
Lol.
That's a good
Realize
point.
We had to make that joke.
Realize if it was good, yo.
I don't know. I mean, I would have liked if they like touched on it earlier rather than like the last 2 episodes. They're like, hey, he's now losing his memories. But I still thought it was an interesting way to end the show. It wasn't, we have to go fight big bad guy and this or that. I mean, they did do that with the stupid Noto dudes that I want. It's a good thing they died. Anyways, But I thought it was like a fun, not fun, but like it was an interesting emotional climax to have the season end on. That it was just their leaders going away. I thought that was kind of interesting. And it was sad. It also, I mean, it definitely made a bittersweet finale, and I like bittersweet finales, but I'm also like, I want a happy ending. So it was kind of sad to be like, oh, okay, we can't just end the show. We have to have the Noto overseers die, and we have to have Taro reset. I hate you anyway. And he gets to appear in the finale. That man is, anyways.
It was
I'm
just
gonna
a fanfic for himself.
It's true. What is an anime production if not just a fan fiction of themselves?
Honestly.
Oh,
You guys love it, no. I love it, no.
someone in chat mentioned the big Zappy jail. The dad in the last episode. Oh no, in the episode when they were having the peace discussion. And another peace discussion when the Noto wanted to join the Donbrothers, and the dad walked in, and Taro suddenly became really respectful. I
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
was funny.
Seeing that was so different. It was really interesting because like Taro had no respect for anyone else. He was the man in charge. He was the king. He was the god. But when it came to his own dad, he was so respectful. He poured his drink for his dad first.
Yeah. That
I
was
thought
funny.
that was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment. And I was like, wow. He knows how to be respectful. He just doesn't have to be. But when it comes to his father, he is fully respectful. And I thought that was a really nice side of Taro we hadn't seen before.
He was raised right. I know.
He was raised right.
I do think that's
Oh.
like I think that's like one of the sweetest things about Taro. And then he's just kind of like a child who just like has like the most like utmost respect for his dad, because he was the only one that was there for him throughout his childhood and for all we know, like teenagehood. I think it's really sweet.
Also, the birthday.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Also, one more thing I love about Taro and his dad is how they did the farewell with his dad.
Oh,
Because with all of them, it was more so talking about like a common point that they had, talking about it more so. But with his dad, it was them eating onigiri they made for each other, which has like such a sentimental value to it. Because in early episodes, while Taro and the other two, I don't remember them fully, were like in the onigiri shop, they were talking about, Taro was like making his onigiri, and he was talking about how it was important that he made these onigiris in the past for someone. That's why he put so much value and work to them. That's why they're so good. So seeing a farewell be tied back to that, which I think was like beautiful, really.
Ken says in chat, the scene where Taro forgot Jin made me tear up. Honestly, same. It was the fact that the onigiri dropped and he caught it in perfect time. Was
He's just that guy.
He's just that guy. But like, it was just such a beautiful moment. Like, I know that I keep saying this. I know that there were lots of loose ends, but at the same time, for Donbrothers, it was the perfect ending. I think, for the show anyway.
That's true. I was gonna say something and I forgot it.
Sorry.
I was gonna say no, it wasn't your fault. I was gonna say though, I think it's funny that Jin seemingly can just leave the jail anytime because the Juto are no longer a problem. But then he chooses to stay there, presumably because now he's free from the Japanese government and the need to pay taxes and rent and all that. He has free housing. People bring him food. I mean, he's got it figured out. He can leave whenever he wants to go do things. So I think he has it figured out. I don't know. He's kind of chill. He's vibing.
He is vibing.
And then he's also in 01. So.
That's it. I was gonna. Gosh. Okay. Okay.
Have you seen 01?
Me? No, I haven't. I was gonna say because people have been mentioning how he was in a different show, and I was wondering what that meant.
There's a different show he's in, but I don't think I'm gonna mention it on stream.
Actually, guys,
Yeah, Marcos.
it's about time. This has probably been one of the longest
Whoa.
discussions. So
It is the long.
Yo!
Yeah, Aki, we know you've been trying to leave it. The
yeah,
whole time.
Aki, come
I'm so
on.
sorry. I'm so sorry. My bad. Oh,
You could have left!
I don't want to leave.
Marcos, what did you think of the finale? You didn't tell us.
Oh my gosh. So, I
Just extending this
hated
a bit
it,
more.
but I loved it. It was such an Inui thing to do. Just like all this stuff happens, yada yada yada, and then it ends. That's it. Bye. It was cute, but yes.
I completely forgot too. They did a roll call, and I was screaming when they did that roll call because I love Super Sentai roll calls, and so when they did
Tara and that.
a whole big one with the Noto, they finally joined in. They got like the green screen,
Yes.
and Murasame got to do his own, and Jiro actually also got his own green screen as well. So they finally tied it all together. That was so cool.
Okay.
I really
one
love
thing
that.
about the roll call. My favorite was Brothers, because obvious reasons. He's just my favorite overall. My favorites were Don Momotaro, Brother, and what was it? Dorago Kujiro. I think the way he made he combined Doragoku and Torobolt was really fucking cool in the final roll call. It was sick.
Yeah, where he just
That
switches
last-
between the two.
Yeah.
That last shot as well of him pushing through with the final attack and him looking back in the flames and just disappears. Sorry, Taro doing this. I was just like,
That finisher was sick. I love Momotaro.
That's really, really cool.
Aki,
Hi.
final thoughts.
Really good. Probably gonna be one of my favorite Sentais when I start finishing some. It's cool.
Keza Henshin.
It was a really good show. It had its ups, it had its downs. I was in and out for a bit, but then the BL brought me back. And that final episode, I think, as I said before, had loads of things that kind of still needs to be tied up, but that leaves enough space and time for the movies and such to discuss. I just thought it was a really heckin' good finale of a show. And I don't think we're ever going to have a show this crazy and hectic, but also so good for a while, I think. Anyway.
Marcosatsu. It was so good. I loved it. I loved the characters, and even though I didn't say much, I think Keza and Thomas just said everything I felt too. I just love this show.
Aki?
So no, Aki said like 3 words. He got that dog in him.
What? What?
They got that dog in him. So anyway, yeah, I love the show. It's great. Care Major is still my number 1, but like I said earlier, like almost 2 hours ago, Donbrothers is up there. It is a masterpiece of a show. It is fantastic. Thomas. Yes.
Time for my
Oh, no.
my 10-minute speech. No, I'm kidding. We basically already said everything that I feel. So Donbrothers, it's a Donbrothers thumbs up. Me, I liked how it was very plot focused. I guess Lost Sentai isn't, but it still managed to be very typical Sentai, where it's just very fun to watch all the characters and do funny, goofy character things. I wish Sonogo and your friends got a happy ending, but I hope they found each other in whatever hell the Noto go to. That's that. And I am very, very excited for that Versus crossover. I can't wait for it.
It's gonna be good.
Yes.
Gonna be good. It's gonna be
So
good.
with all that being said, catch Don Murasame in Henshins and Dragons when our team finally remembers they actually have Don Murasame with them. Oh, we didn't talk about the music, but it was good.
Good.